Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, I'm back sooner than I thought I would be, but I'm happy to do so. If there is one thing I'm also happy about is that I read somewhere, I'm not sure where, that Tom Bauer had sent the manuscript to the palace before publication. In other words, the Queen and Charles had likely seen the content before it was published, or at the very least, were informed of the content before publication, and then obviously gave their permission for it to be published, which, of course, lends even more credibility to the book. But what makes me happy is that finally we can see that there is still some clout and fighting spirit left in the Queen and her son Prince Charles. We know that Prince William had a gutful of the Harkles, and I sincerely doubt he will ever forgive Meghan Markle for what she had done to his family, and of course, the damage both her and Harry did to the monarchy. And that is a good thing, as the mere thought that Harry and Meghan will ever be allowed to do anything in an official capacity within the monarchy is enough for me to write them all off. But now, with Bauer's book telling us that it wasn't just William, but also Charles who blocked them from public display during the Jubilee, I certainly have renewed hope in the monarchy. Okay, the latest revelations from the book do not come as a surprise, as I have shared many of those in previous or older videos. So far, the only story I did not know the details of is the one about her interactions with Vogue and Edward Enninful. I thought everything went swimmingly and Edward was a huge fan of Meghan's. But now we learn from Tom Bauer's book that it did not go well and that staff at Vogue and Edward himself had numerous issues with Meghan's demands. The book describes how Edward and Meghan differed on how to publicize the book. Meghan wanted to light up the internet with leaks, while Enninful wanted to keep it under wraps. The last straw for Enninful was when Meghan asked her head of communication, Sarah Latham, to get Vogue to change its schedule so that the magazine would publish in the United States first and the UK second. Enninful rejected Latham's request and the relationship between Meghan and Vogue crumbled. So, okay, this was news to me. And so, I guess Meghan screwed that one up as well and will never get to work with Vogue again. And Enninful will not be invited to the next wedding. Okay, I knew of her diva attitude during the Reitman's ad campaign, but the information that I had was only a minute part of what really went down. I knew about her being nasty and abrupt with crew and staff, and I knew about her complaints with regards to her accommodation, food, and so on. But to read the finer details now in Bauer's book is hilarious in a way and actually very sad on the other hand, but I'll get to that later. Reading the excerpt from Bauer's book clearly shows just how sick Meghan is. It illustrates her delusions of grandeur and her serious personality disorder. I am now more convinced than ever before that Meghan is indeed a malignant narcissist and that her issues were present long before she met Harry and likely manifested in childhood already. Remember that video of Meghan as a child at Nanaki Pretty's birthday party when she pretended to be a queen? At one point, she calls out to the other girls to follow her to her party. Well, it wasn't her party. It was Nanaki's birthday party. In Samantha's book, she describes how Thomas Markle gave her and Meghan a catalogue to choose their Christmas gifts from one year. Samantha showed Meghan a pretty little ring, not even intending it for herself. But Meghan immediately threw a hissy fit, not wanting Samantha to have the ring. It is thus, in my unprofessional opinion, clear that Meghan had mental health issues and a personality disorder which manifested very early in life and likely went undetected due to the fact that her parents did not live together. And she likely used that to manipulate them, making them feel guilty and playing one off against the other. Something else which cropped up in terms of the Reitman's campaign is the story about a pair of expensive shoes which was bought in for the shoot, a pair of beige Aquazzura shoes. To the surprise of the crew in charge of wardrobe, Meghan forgot to leave the shoes behind when the shoot was over. I heard about this particular incident for the first time in this excerpt from the book, but it is not the first time I heard of Meghan doing something like this. But it had been one of the many things I had to be very careful about, as the legal repercussions of accusing somebody of willfully forgetting to return items or to purposefully losing items could be severe. And as Lady C is so fond of saying, for legal reasons, I skipped over some of the stories told to me over the past 2 years, but I distinctly remembered two incidents which stood out to me and which I can remind you of because it is already in the public domain. Meghan herself told how she borrowed clothes from her suit's wardrobe and how she sneaked in to borrow said items. And again, it appears to be something she was allowed to get away with as a child, as in Samantha's book, Samantha told how she collected music boxes, and getting home one day, how she found that Meghan had taken over some of those music boxes and had put it in her room and refused to part with it. In these latest excerpts from the book, we hear more about Meghan's front page story in Vanity Fair in 2017 with the headline, "She is just wild about Harry." We hear how she leaked the story about her relationship with Harry herself and then blamed or tried to blame everyone else for it, including the journalist she had the interview with. We also hear about her wild date with Rory McIlroy, which left him worse for wear the next day, and so on. Again, to go into the details of the excerpts would be a waste of time, as it is available online and in many newspaper articles, social media platforms, etc. What I would much rather point out are the things and the nuances I am getting from it. The reading between the lines part. We may now rejoice in a way because finally the truth is coming out little by little. I mean, Bauer's book has now, in a way, given the mainstream media the green light to publish the stories they had been hanging on to for so long. Finally, we are hearing from people who had been trampled on by Meghan in her quest for fame. And slowly, puzzle pieces are starting to fit, as we also hear from friends of Harry how they were treated by Meghan and why these relationships actually broke down as Harry and Meghan's relationship grew. And now, of course, we know why this happened. And of course, like you all, I am glad this is happening because no human being should be allowed to do this to others and get away with it forever. However, as it is the early days and the complete book has not been released yet, I have certain fears regarding the fallout from the book. So let me explain. Malignant narcissism is not a medical diagnosis, but instead a sort of blanket term to cover a form of psychopathy and antisocial personality disorder. I have listed the traits of a malignant narcissist before and in older videos, but because of Bauer's book, I think it is necessary to do so again so that you are equipped to judge for yourself. Now, symptoms or signs of malignant narcissism include lack of empathy, using relationships primarily as a tool for gaining self-esteem, having little interest in others' experiences, needs, or feelings, attention-seeking behavior, feelings of entitlement or being special, believing themselves to be superior to others, disregard or hostility towards the rights of others, aggression and violence, lack of remorse, a tendency to lie, breaking the law, chronic irresponsibility, impulsive or reckless behavior, abusing loved ones, often for their own pleasure or personal gain. In my next video, I may talk about these traits in terms of Meghan Markle a bit more, using the excerpts and prior information to validate my opinion. But for now, I wish to express my concern about everything which is happening now. I have a feeling that this is going to somehow end badly. I sincerely have a bad feeling about this. Meghan should have been stopped years ago, and I feel that it is almost too late now. We are laughing and gloating about the truth coming out. We feel validated in our previous assumptions, but Meghan's disorder had already ruined the lives of many and had brought stress and hurt to many more. But now there are two children in the mix. Now, you may think that I'm being a drama queen, but if you consider all Meghan's shenanigans and actions as a whole, it is clear that it is not normal. And in my opinion, she can be downright ruthless and dangerous. So for now, I'm going to leave all of this right here. Let us all take a breather and we will continue again another day. So until then, please take good care of yourself. Bye.